Are we live?
Are we live,
Are we
gamers?
live? Is my question.
Gamers, I'm nervous. Gamers, I'm nervous.
Are we
You gotta be
live?
honest with me, gamers. Refresh the page.
Let's see. It seems as if we may be live.
We mayhaps?
Mayhaps it may take a minute for people to come over because they were in the previous stream.
Aha! I think I found it.
It seems
All
like we
right.
might be live.
I think we're live.
Oh, we're live. Oh
We're
my
live.
goodness.
Oh
Wow.
my god!
Whoa.
Oh, gamers!
Whoa.
It's been so long, gamers!
Hello. I will just say, going live on YouTube from this brand new OBS, not as straightforward as you might think. Just gonna say that. Not as straightforward as you might think. So, please don't make fun of me.
Nah, we don't make fun of Dimitri.
I
We only make
promise.
fun of Liz, because Liz is the zoomer of the call. But what is going on, gamers? Welcome back to hanging out with me and Dimitri on stream. If you don't know who I am Elizabeth Marchini. I'm a host and writer here at the Score Esports, and this is
Dimitri Pascaluta. I'm not gonna miss my intro this time. This is Dimitri Pascaluta, also host, producer, writer, thingy guy at the Score Esports.
um
And what are we
yeah.
doing today? What are we doing today, Liz? What are we doing today and henceforth?
Oh wow. So Zoomers always win, guys. That's the thing you
That's
need
how
to
you're
know.
starting this.
Yeah, Zoomers always win.
Why
And
is that
Liz
relevant?
always gets what she wants. And Liz wants to talk about Valorant. And if Liz wants to talk about Valorant, she's going to talk about Valorant. And I forced Dimitri to join me. Therefore, welcome to our little Valorant show.
That's actually
Ta-da!
that's actually the formal title, guys. Just so we're clear, our little
Yeah.
Valorant show.
Our
That's
little
actually what we're calling
Valorant
it.
show.
No, we actually don't have a name for our show yet. We are
Not yet. We have
Liz
a couple.
and I have
couple
painstakingly been trying to come up with some names, and it has just been rough.
we sat for an hour in silence in the call, and we were like, throw something out, be like, oh, that's okay. Couple more minutes of silence. And just like we tried so hard. We have a couple feelers out there.
Yeah, we have a couple of, like prospective, ideas, but
Yeah.
it's
Let us
tough.
know. Maybe we'll do a poll on YouTube. Maybe the audience can choose the name of the show. That'd be fun.
No, that wouldn't be fun. That would be anything but fun. Actually, I can almost guarantee you that would be anything but fun.
No, but like
because-
we like give them options.
Okay, maybe if we give them options and then let them vote. But as long as we're the
Yeah.
ones who come up with the
Yeah,
names,
the
then-
options.
because
Because you know that
100%
they're gonna
if
name this
they come up with
Valorant
it-
McValorant show.
No, they're gonna call it like Poop Dad 420. Like,
Hell yeah, I'd watch that show. But yeah, so we're just gonna talk about all things Valorant. Specifically this episode, if you will, we're going to be talking about Valorant Rostermania. And if you're not sure what that is, I keep looking at you guys like you're an audience on my monitor. So if you see me looking to my right, I'm literally looking at chat. So I'm looking at you. But we're gonna talk about everything to do with Rostermania, the partner teams, free agents, and things like that. So if you have any questions, you have any comments you want us to respond to, let us know. We'd be happy to talk about it. And we are super excited to talk about this. I think the first question is, Dimitri, how do you say your name correctly?
Dimitri is my first name, and my last name is Pascaluta. And how
Yay.
do you, is it pronounced? It's Marchini, right?
It's Marchini.
You're sure it's not?
I'm pretty sure I know how to pronounce my last name, Dimitri.
It's not Marchini.
No, it's Marchini.
It's
Hard C.
Marchini. Pardon me.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Like gnocchi.
Like
You know, you say
gnocchi.
gnocchi, you don't say gnocchi.
You don't say nochi. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that. You're telling me this for the first time.
Yes. Marry me, Liz? No. But so we have some things to talk about. I guess the one thing I did want us to introduce ourselves with it for those of you who don't know us, those of you who are like, I see some people in chat are like, wait, doesn't Dimitri like only know CS? That's not true. One, talk about like our FPS experience and what we come from, what we like. So I come from a background of Halo. I played Halo as a little girl, going out to my brother's Xbox and playing it when they weren't around. And then I kind of fell out of it, and I was convinced to play Valorant by a couple of friends, and then that's when I kind of fell in love with the game and the pro scene after that. It's kind of really the real first esport I really paid attention to and rooted for. So yeah, and you, Dimitri, what about you?
I have a long history in FPS. I won't go that
Because
far
you're
back.
old.
Yeah, I won't go that far back. I grew up on 1.6. I didn't play a lot of Source because Source is a bad game. And then yeah, I also grew up on console shooters, Halo COD, but most people probably know me as a CS:GO guy. I'm a big CS fan, and I'm a big CS:GO fan. I play basically every shooter. I played Valorant really seriously when it came out. I play a lot of Overwatch. I play a lot of Siege. I play obviously a ton of CS:GO. I play like basically every FPS. So yeah, I have actually, contrary to what people might think, have actually probably been playing Valorant longer than most people
Me.
here.
Yeah. You've
Uh,
literally played it longer than me.
yes, I have
'Cause I
played
didn't
longer.
play in beta.
I played in beta. And yeah, I used to play it quite seriously actually when it first came out. So I am here to basically kind of like learn about the Valorant Pro scene, but also sort of impart thoughts that I have on it, as someone who's been following it touch and go for the past 2 years, but also just as somebody who knows, a lot about other esports pro scenes, not just Counter Strike, but all the other ones basically. Um, yeah, so this is gonna be a fun little experiment to get a
Yeah.
Counter Striker and a seasoned Counter Striker and a Valorant kitty in the same call, and talk about Valorant and talk about
Yeah.
the game, Valorante.
Yeah. So
We
my first question for you, Dimitri,
Yes.
is do you know what I talk about, or what I'm saying when I talk about the Valorant Partner Program?
Yes, I do. I do know what you're talking
Okay.
about when you talk about the Valorant Partner Program, which is a pretty crucial cornerstone of Valorant esports going forward, henceforth.
Yes.
Pretty big deal. But we should talk about it though,
So,
because I feel like there's some people who maybe don't know.
yes. So if you guys don't know, basically the way the VCT has worked until now is like open qualifiers, closed qualifiers, group stage, and then moving forward into, masters and challengers. That is now out the window. You can't get you don't have your girl kissers, don't have your scroll warriors, Discord kittens. Like those teams, those like fun teams we would see kind of have these moments in the bracket are no longer in the partner program. So of course they'll still be able to play Valorant. They're not like banned from the game. But what has happened is that Riot, through a pretty, I would consider, pretty rigorous application process, has selected organizations to represent kind of three quadrants, or not three quadrants, but three parts of the world. So there's the Americas, then there's EMEA, and then there's the Pacific. So the teams for each region are, and I have them right here. 100 Thieves, this is for the Americas. 100 Thieves, Cloud9, Evil Geniuses, Furia, Crew, Leviathan, Loud, MIBR, NRG, and Sentinels. So if you're like, wait, that's not just NA. Yeah, it's not just NA. It is NA, LATAM, and Brazil. EMEA is BBL Esports, Fnatic, FUT or FUT Esports. Actually, I haven't heard them before this. Giants, Carmine Corp, Koi, Navi, Team Heretics, Team Liquid, Team Vitality. Pacific, Detonation Gaming, DRX, Gen G, Global Esports, Paper Rex, Regum, Keon, T1, Talon Esports, Team Secret, and Zeta Division. So some names you've heard of and some names you haven't heard of, I'm sure. Because obviously I hadn't heard of FUT Esports, but I loved the video they posted of them being in. But so those are the teams, and those are the teams that were selected. You might have seen, people on Optic, kind of be a little confused as to why Optic wasn't selected, or something like that. I'm super washed out right now. What if I turn this light off?
I'm
I
too
look
dark
like
as
a
well
ghost.
because I switched to this tab so we can see the teams.
But they are the teams that we're representing for now. our regions. So the next part of this is the Ascension League. Ascension League is what I guess we can call like a tier 2 league. And basically what that means is these are could be organizations that participate in this Ascension League that's going to run concurrently with the partner program, and they have the chance to ascend, you see what they did there, to the partner program. So that grows bigger, which is exciting. We need a new filler word. No, Robert Anderson's going to be but yes. So yeah, I see Gabriel rather is saying in chat that Exet didn't make it, Optic didn't make it. I don't believe any Oceania teams made it. I don't think any Middle Eastern or African teams made it. So I do say Umala, I'm sorry. It is my filler word. But it is, those are the teams for now that will be representing us throughout the world.
For
so
now
you might be like, wait,
is an operative word there, right? Because as
yes,
I'm sure you're about to go on to say, there's a process to.
Yeah. So there's the Ascension League with the Ascension. I, honest to God, am not sure about relegation. I reached out for comment. I still haven't heard back. I don't know what that's going to look like. But you also might be noticing kind of like a shift. You're like, wait, didn't Gen G compete in NA just now? Wait, didn't T1 just compete in NA just now? They did, but now they'll be competing in the Pacific. And so, where organizations have made it, you know these rosters, but you don't know these rosters. There's a train going by. I'm sorry if you can hear that.
We can't.
But the important thing about this is the organizations made the partner program, right?
Yes.
Not the players.
Yeah, this is an important point because people, right, like Riot's not partnering with players. They're not partnering with pro players. They're partnering with organizations. Organizations can sign whoever they want, right? And players can play for whomever they want, right? So I think a lot of people saw the Optic thing and they saw who's the other one? TSM, right?
TSM,
Exet sort of Exet, I think, and Optic are probably the standouts. People just sort of wondering why it is that their favorite players didn't make it, especially Optic, like just played a world championship grand final, right? And the simple answer is that Riot is looking to partner with orgs. They're not looking to partner with players. Like, I mean, we're going to get to this in a minute, right? But the best Valorant player in the world can wear a different jersey, right? Mm-hmm. And get signed to a different team. So yeah, that's sort of the long and the short of it. But yeah, I don't think that it's not without question. I think it's still a little bit interesting that Optic didn't make it in. There's a history there with Riot and Optic in League and franchising, and I'm sure that was probably a concern. But yeah, it is a weird look, obviously, to have a world championship contending team not make it in like 2 weeks after they played that final or whatever it was. It
was odd for sure when that name didn't come through, because there were some rumors and leaks coming through and that name wasn't mentioned. And you kind of think about it for a little bit and you're like, well, there's the leak thing. They have been going through a couple of mergers and like different ownership things, I believe. And correct me if I'm wrong, Dimitri. And but you're like, but surely they're an org, they're Optic, and it was not to be seen as that. Also, I believe they talked about this in Do Not Be Live, the rumors that Riot had the emergency meeting to no longer allow G2 a spot in the league after Carlos was seen at a party with Andrew Tate, and allowing another team or another organization rather to be in. I don't know if are confirmed. I don't think Riot has come out and been like, hey, this was our Saturday minutes of like what we did, but that maybe happened. We're not sure. We've seen some tweets and different things alluding to that, but we don't know for sure. And so I think if that, with all these things considered, Riot, it was being extremely, I don't want to say picky is the right word, but
yeah, I don't know.
Selective, like highly competitive and selective process. It kind of reminds me of like a college application process in the States. Like, I don't know how it works in Canada. I don't work anywhere else. Like when you go into when you go to apply for colleges in the United States, there's like the selective colleges, the highly selective colleges, the most selective colleges. And I feel like this kind of like Riot is the Ivy League of Valorant right now. Kind of selecting those top contenders, what has them stand out, can they financially support a team? That might have a stipend, but they need to support the players, need to support the team, support their whether it be with like salary or etc. And continue to like grow the esport. A flash in the pan, super popular team may not have the longevity that Riot is looking for.
And an org can come along and sign, and you see this in all esports, like certainly not just Valorant, right? Like you have a team who, this happened in CS recently with Gambit. Obviously the circumstances were very extenuating around that. But, you have a roster that is a world contending roster, like tier 1 unquestionably, and an org like Cloud9 just comes up and just signs, like literally not just the 5 players, but like their coach, their strategist, their freaking massage therapist, like just take the whole winning formula and you're just like, come to Cloud9, right? Like come win for us because you guys were winning for Gambit before, right? So this can happen, and we're starting to see it happen now. This is what, this massive Rostermania that Valorant's going through. It's safe to say, I think, that we are probably never gonna see another Rostermania of this caliber,
right?
Because of the like unprecedented and sort of singular occurrence of the switch to franchising, right? It happens once and it'll never happen again, and so it's interesting. I'm curious to see what happens. I think that it's more interesting. I said this the other day, but I think it's more interesting than I thought it was going to be. Like, I think it's sort of funny. Not funny. Funny's not the right word. Like, that makes it sound as if I'm being cheeky, and I'm not being cheeky. I think it is actually genuinely interesting that, however many weeks it is, right, after TSM don't make it into Riot's franchised Valorant thing, they announced that they are, developing an entire CSGO infrastructure. Like, they're going to go all in on CSGO.
Very interesting timing.
Now, to be fair, those things could actually be unrelated, because, like, the proximity with which they were announced is certainly close enough that it's very possible that TSM were actually thinking of doing this regardless. And I don't know. Like, I have no idea. I don't have any kind of confirmation or anything as to whether one is coinciding with the other. But there was a joke going around for a long time that, franchising is going to be really, really healthy for the tier 2 Counter-Strike scene. And people are really excited about Valorant franchising in Counter-Strike. And yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised TSM didn't make it in. I guess we should talk about that one first. I am surprised. Speaking of orgs, there's obviously a lot around TSM that I think Riot could look at and sort of wince and go like,
right.
Like, I don't know if you want anything to do with that, but they are like the legacy North American League of Legends org, like top of the list, number 1. The New York Yankees of North American League of Legends have been for 10 years. And so it's interesting. I don't know why they don't make it in, and I don't know what an org like TSM does in Valorant going forward. Like, do you still field the team and try to make it through Ascension, or like, what do you think?
So there's a list of players who I know Sabrosa is a restricted free agent, I believe.
That's what I saw, yeah.
So some of them are allowed to field offers. I haven't seen anything about anyone else. I'm sure I can just go to their Twitter and find out.
Just to be clear, the players I'm sort of less concerned for, because I feel like the players can sign with somebody at some point, even if it's not right away. Like, even if they're sort of still in a restricted free agency, like their contract. I'm curious about TSM as an org. Like, do TSM continue to field a Valorant roster and try to make it into the VCC through Ascension, or do they basically throw their hands up and say like, let's just go all in on the open circuit CS:GO?
I believe if I were TSM and I have the resources that TSM has, I mean, I'm not saying if I were to look at TSM rather and see the resources that they have, and also just like the name power and the star power that they have, I would hedge a bet saying they would make an Ascension team. And I also think being a TSM player could be an attractive thing for many like really kind of like young great players that maybe haven't gotten their start yet as well. Like sure, there are also like plenty of free agents who can be picked from right now because it's kind of insane the pool of talent that we have. But I would say 70-30, 70 saying that they make a Ascension team.
I think that's fair to say. I think that's probably fair to say. They're obviously a big enough org as well that it seems like sort of silly. I think they want to stay in Valorant, and I think that they want to keep, they want to keep garnering that young North American audience, that's building up around the game, right?
Right.
I'm just still surprised that it make it in. Like, I get it. I get the Reggie stuff, and I feel like that makes a lot of sense. Like, I sort of understand. I just feel like it's bold. I don't know. I just feel it just seems like so. I don't know.
Well, remember they did the investigation. They saw the report. That was their work.
Absolutely.
You can if you like go on the Riot Slack channel and you're like, "Hey, investigator, about that report," and like you talk about it and you were told what you're told about that report. That I think is a super fair thing to say. Yeah, I don't want that environment in my partner program right now. It is a risk though because they could absolutely make it in through the Ascension program. And I don't know if there's anything they can do about that. I think, but as of right now and like the infrastructure they're trying to grow, I think it is a very fair thing to say that they don't want that right now. I also think it's kind of a endorsement of the health of the NA esports scene because it could have been a situation where like, oh, we don't like this, but like we have the choice, like they're the healthiest org out there that can support their players and et cetera, et cetera. But that wasn't the case. That the case was, we're able to have another org come in here and take their spot. And because they're able to support their players and support the scene the way that they're looking for. But yeah, I think it's Riot's prerogative at the end of the day. Like, I think even if I don't think any of us here are like Reggie stands, but if we were like, no, you have to do it. Like, they are allowed to do whatever they want. So,
absolutely, yeah, no, and I'm not. I mean, I never thought I would say the words "I feel bad for TSM" because I don't really feel bad for TSM. I feel bad for the players. Like, I feel bad for for Rosa and like I think that, and I'm sure they'll land on their feet. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure they'll be just fine. But it's like someone in the chat said, right? It feels like the upcoming season of Ascension is just going to be like the major orgs are going to give up on it, and it's going to be sort of a troll streamer team, and then eventually it'll pick up. I mean, that'll be curious to see. You know what I mean? Like, transitionary periods like this are always interesting, but yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird that there are orgs and teams who sort of went in day one. I feel like you and I have talked about this before, Liz, but like who went in day one and sort of weren't rewarded for their loyalty. You know what I mean? In spite of the fact they built up huge followings around Valorant in some cases, and really tried to get in day one. And then on the other hand, they did get rewarded. Like, the best example of this is Sentinels. Like, I know to a lot of you, especially if you're like Valorant fans, you know what I mean? Like, to you, it's like a no-brainer that Sentinels would make it in. And it is a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer. But Sentinels were not Sentinels before Valorant. Like, they were, I'm not going to say they were nobody, but like they were not the org even remotely close to the org that they are now before Valorant, right? Valorant made Sentinels. And so it makes sense to reward them for that, of course. But I just feel like there were other orgs who also sort of tried the same thing and were still quite successful, right? And it feels like that, you know what I mean? Like, Riot just kind of were like, sorry, my man, sorry, my dude. Like, you did like Xset, right? Like, sorry guys, like, just you didn't quite cut it. But here's an org that is maybe a little more established in a region that doesn't really have a particularly big team that people really care about or win things, but they're such a legacy org and they're so big that I don't know, their selection process for the whole thing just felt really weird. It just felt really weird.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't on that team. We'll never know, right?
We'll never know.
I think I would love to be a fly on the wall in those conversations.
Only heard about Sen. That's true. Someone's in chat said only heard about Sen after Booga won the Fortnite tournament. That was it. That was literally the first time anyone had ever heard of Sentinels, was after Booga won the Fortnite World Cup, and then between that and Valorant, that was like the only two things the Sentinels ever did. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not, to be clear, I'm not throwing shade against Sentinels. I think it's amazing what they do themselves. I'm just saying that like it's like they are a very much an example of an org who like were not like a Team Liquid or a Cloud9 or like whatever prior to Valorant. Like they were very small before Valorant.
I think the other thing that I saw kind of being less rewarded or so is the teams that had GC teams. Version 1 had a GC, Game Changers. Version 1 had a GC team. TSM had a GC team. XSET had a GC team. They still have them. And I think that's a great indicator of wanting to be in the scene, but not only wanting to be in the scene, but just being a champion of gender minorities in esports. And that just shows me you are ready to contribute to the long-term health of this esport. And I thought that might have been a more heavy consideration. I was wrong. I'm a little disappointed in that. I'm a lot disappointed in it. I'm gonna be honest.
I was pretty hopeful that 100 Thieves' announcement was going to be a Game Changers Valorant team.
Yeah.
And it ended up being an energy drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I hope the orgs do consider. I hope everyone just considers like kind of doing something similar to Game Changers, or just fielding, if it is just fielding a Game Changers team. And so it was disappointing. And I was surprised that wasn't I guess it seems like it wasn't a bigger consideration, but yeah,
I don't know. We just don't know. We just don't know.
We don't know, right?
Don't know. There's no real way. Like we can infer all we want, and there's some inferences that seem safer than others, but it's sort of hard to. It's sort of hard to infer. Yeah, it's just hard to know anything obviously like that. But anyway, we'll see. Going forward and how the league pans out. I'm more interested to see kind of the overall success of the league.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very interesting to think about whether Valorant would have been more successful as a open circuit esport versus closed. Obviously, it never would have happened. Like Riot obviously wants all of their games to be franchised. But right. I'm curious, and I'm curious how it, like in the short term success versus the long term success. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's interesting because also now like my thought, because I finally got into Overwatch 2 today, guys. Actually I played a game with Laxing during my break and during my lunch break, and I was thinking during that time, I was just like, well, Overwatch 2 is here now, and we saw a lot of people switch from Overwatch to Valorant, and now is something do we see it possible like people leaving these free agents who maybe came from Overwatch or like have the FPS mechanics and abilities like go to Overwatch 2 and we lose those free agents?
If the
just cycle, a shower thought.
The cycle repeat. You were not around for this, Liz, but once upon a time in 2016, all of the CS players in NA who, not all of it was a much smaller number than Valorant, but there were CS players in NA who left to go try Overwatch because Overwatch 1 was heralded to be what Valorant sort of actually was, which is like a CS, like a CS hero shooter. That's what it was like, oh, it's FPS hero shooter. We could play like, let's play this game. Like Steel played Overwatch competitively for a while. Obviously his circumstances were extenuating why he was playing it, why he couldn't play CS, but it's would be very funny if like it just feels like this happens. Like you always have these exoduses after a new game comes out, right?
Right.
And I don't know if people are going to leave for Overwatch, but I think that's
it was just a shower thought.
No,
I don't think
sure.
it would happen.
Yeah, it's more just that like,
playing it.
I think that the what's the term? Like the fairy dust around Overwatch as an esport is not what it was in 2016. Like, I think people have sort of just like, people are a lot more cagey about franchising now and about how it works and who's left out and who's left in. I personally, and I won't be secret, I do not like franchising in esports. I don't think the model works. I don't like it. I've never been a fan of it. I was not a fan of it even in 2018, which was the quote unquote year of franchising. Like, franchising was going to save esports from the brink of despair, and it was going to like bring us into the modern age and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, that was the thing that was going to save us all. And I have never been a fan of it. And I'm no more a fan of it now than I was before. People keep saying my audio is a little bit low. I'm going to turn myself up just a little bit. Hopefully that helps get me into the...
I think
yellow. Anyway, so go ahead, Liz, while I figure out my audio.
But not even, like, you were talking about it with like the joke without like the CS tier 2 scene. Like, I think now it's just kind of like this perfect storm of, you know, if you don't make it into an Ascension League, if you don't make it into another team, like, you kind of have like, well, there are other options for you out there now. And not that there weren't other options before, but now there's so many doors that are open, which is really interesting to see how it pans out. But yes, friends, we audio is good. Do you like the audio? Do I sound nice? Ah, you guys like that? I can sing some more if you want. Ah.
Dimitri, what about franchising in traditional sports? It's just different, bro. It's just different. Franchising in traditional sports it makes way more sense than franchising in esports. They're just different. They're just different things, right? And the time scale is also a lot different. You know, you have like franchise leagues that are 100 years old and have they grow like year to year, but they also grow decade to decade. And like, I'm not saying esports is not going to be around in a couple of decades, but like, you can't like pitching you know, like Valorant releases in 2020, right? And then by 2022 it's like, you know, I remember when Overwatch 1 was doing this, there was literally projections from Blizzard, like they said this at one point, that they were expecting franchise partners to build physical arenas in their cities for people to go watch them play Overwatch. And I was like, that's like, that's some yeah. So it just is not, I just don't like it. Never been a fan of it. I like open circuit. I think I'm more persuaded that open circuit is just the way to go. And like, yeah, anyway.
I think because then you have like teams like the Guard come through, right? Like, the open circuit allows those moments to happen. And, you know, I love the Guard. Like, the reason I found the Guard was because of the, like, they made it. They made it through. And that's why I love it. Like, they kind of, that's what happened. And, you know, they didn't make it into the partner program either. And it's tricky. It's interesting to, I agree with Colton. I think Colton said that I said so many doors. It's not like there are a million popular titles out there. Colton is right in saying one and two.
What happened in Valorant is what happens every time, right? The new game comes out. Everybody says, Valve's so stupid. CSGO's so stupid. Valorant is going to save us. It's the promised land. I'm going to be there day one. I'm going to be the first pro player signed. I'm going to be the first. I'm going to get there. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it in this game. It's my new opportunity. And then there's like 2 years of open circuit where everybody gets to play everything. And then Riot whittles that down to a franchise model. Only the cool kids get in, and then everybody else is left out of the cold, being like, wait, are you telling me that it's CS all over again? Wait,
right.
Are you telling me that I'm just as much out in the cold as I was 2.5 years ago? Wait, I don't understand, right? Which is fine, like, in the sense of, like, that's always what was gonna happen. It's just that it felt like, it, as it always does, it feels like the copium is so intense in the beginning that people sort of forget that it's going to happen. To be clear, because someone said this, I'm not CS sided. I just don't like franchising. It has nothing to do with Valorant versus CSGO. I just don't like franchising. Not a fan. Yeah. Never have been. Presumably, if I ever, I want to say never will be, because I just think franchising, we need to be in a whole other universe of esports for franchising to make sense. Like, we need to be talking 20 years from now. We need to be talking like when we are in a whole different generation of competitive gaming, right? That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I just don't think. I think that it's not particularly. Real quick, does CS:GO have franchising? I don't think so. Right? No. So CS:GO does not have franchising. CS:GO is the most open circuit of open circuit esports. It is. There are partner teams in like ESL Pro League. There are partner teams for, I think, Blast as well. And that's sort of like pseudo franchising. And people discuss that. People talk about the merits of that. They talk about the pitfalls of that, for sure. For sure. So CS is not immune to this. But what Valorant has, like, is now gearing up to have, right, is what Overwatch has, it's what CDL has, and it's what League of Legends has, which is actual like hard-nosed franchising, right? In the way that traditional sports is franchised. Like, if I can't just be in the NBA tomorrow, I need to get signed by a team who's in the NBA, and then I can play in the NBA. That's what Valorant is going to have, right? You can't just start a team and just like one day just be in the league. You have to go through the Ascension program. You have to get through. You have to make it in. Someone has to get relegated. You have to take their spot, blah, 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 right? And what that does is that stifles competition in the name of longevity, right?
I'm gonna read Capo. I'm sorry if I missed Capo's comment. Franchising adds stability to the scene, though, both economically and entertainment-wise. I feel like it helps new players get into watching games as well. Easier to keep up and follow pro games. Well, that's the argument for it, right?
It's just never happened. Unfortunately, it's just never happened. No one has ever watched a franchise league and been more entertained by it than a non-franchise league. It just has never. Like, there's a reason that the LCS is dying, right? Now, I'm not going to speak for the LPL, and I'm not going to speak for like the LCK, because I do think that it's. I do think it's a slightly different kettle of fish. Like, I think regions do play a role in this, and the massiveness in esports of certain regions. But considering that Valorant is a predominantly North American esport, at least right now, I think that it's fair to compare them. But yeah, it's just, this is the argument against franchising. Is like, do you really want to watch the same two North American league teams compete against each other forever and then just go to Worlds and get knocked out in groups? Like, and it's been happening for 10 years, and like, this is just what franchising does. Whereas in non-franchise esports, you watch teams play each other on an international stage every week, basically, right? And the competition is way stiffer, and there's different teams in every tournament, and there's so much easier to just, have 5 players get a team together and go make it in through an open qualifier, and then make it through a regional, and then boom, they're playing, in like the semifinals of a, Blast event, right?
Right. I think it's interesting too, because we also have, the kind of and to be clear, Valorant isn't franchising in terms of like you have to buy a spot, right? Like it was an application process, partner program. But when we say franchising, we're referring to just the idea of like partner teams, like your I don't say partner program because that's like the word, but the teams that are in the program and they play, win or lose, they're there. Unless there's relegation. But, you have things like the CDL or the OWL. You have like regional teams, which I think is interesting. I almost thought that might have been a Valorant thing, considering what how things have happened. Like Guard has LA Gladiators, Energy has the San Francisco Shock, FaZe has the Atlanta Reign, and that's all OWL. But it could, like, I thought that is there an argument for geo specific teams of like you have to like name your team, like kind of like a la like traditional sports, physical sports? Do you want to do that? Do you want to be like, yeah, I want to be like on like the New York Sentinels, or something like that? And that's something I have been thinking about. Does that make it more attractive for people who aren't esports, who are like, how can I get my parents to watch esports? Something I've been thinking about a lot. And how do I get them to, we are New York Yankees fans. We are New Orleans Saints fans. But I think, is it harder for them to understand, Sentinels, NRG, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And that's something I've been thinking about, and I don't know the answer to that. And I would actually love your Dimitri, your thoughts, and also the audience's thoughts about it.
On what specifically? Like, what element of it?
The geo teams.
Geo teams, it's so hard, man. I don't know. Like, it also just feels like it's not a pipe dream. Colton asked earlier what changes in those 20 years, right? And the answer is just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know, but like it would need to take that long, right? Because what we are in right now, there's just the way esports works, the way esports has been built organically. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's just silly. It's just not, I don't know. Yeah. The thing to remember about franchising, though, just to be clear, is that, and I'm not out here like telling you that the franchising is like gonna fail. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that like the Valorant franchising is not gonna work or anything like that. Like, that's silly, obviously, right? Like, what I'm saying is that it's important to remember who franchising is for. It is not for you, the viewer. It's not. It's not like you, the viewer, is TI. You, the viewer, is like, bro, I want to watch two teams play a BO3 or a BO5 for fucking $40 million, and that's, like, savage. Like, that's so mean. Like, you, the viewer, is like, Liz is a wrestling fan, right? Like, I want a cage match. I want, like, the homies in there are, like, not having fun. Like, it's you, the viewer, who is like, I want to see blood. Let's go. Like, that's what is entertaining about it. Like, the open circuit is entertaining because it's like, you know, these teams have something to lose. These players have something to lose. They're not guaranteed stability. They're not guaranteed security. What franchising does is it gives stability to the players, it gives stability to the orgs, and it gives stability to the developer, right? Now, those are good things. Like, those are good things on paper for the health of esports. But, like, it's not more entertaining. It's always going to be more entertaining to watch Open Circuit. The problem is that Open Circuit is only good. It's only like when you have a true open capitalist free-for-all, if you are somebody who just wants entertainment, which most of us do. In fact, all of us do. We just want to watch good esports, right?
Right.
That's it. That's just the only point I'm trying to make. Is like, you have to understand, like, the franchising is not giving you, the fan, stability. It's giving them stability, right?
Right. And I think something else I wanted to add is that, like, to treat, if we're gonna, you know, open qualifiers is like, it's sort of like a meritocracy, right? Like the best get through, but that at the same time, you guys, like, the issues with the meritocracy and an open qualifiers is the teams that have the best support, whether it be financially or just with time, and have the most resources, are the teams that get through those open qualifiers too. Sure, you have those Cinderella stories, right? But it is, you know, the orgs who pluck people out, the best, pay them. You know, those are the teams that 9 times out of 10 will make it through. And I think that's the important point to make about all of this, is that, you know, we talk, like, there's like no room for Cinderella stories, and there's no room for, you know, like, an up and coming team. You know, my mind, I like Team Burger in Apex, you know, like the unsigned team that was there, like, killing the game in the finals, you know, kind of came through and did their thing. Now they're signed to Moist Esports, I know. But now I think it's an important thing to recognize that these top teams would still be competing regardless. It's now just more finalized, and there's no other room for entry besides the Ascension League. And I think that's, you know, I think you would say it's a meritocracy, it's open for all, but at the same time, like, remember who has the resources, who has the power, who has the privilege, who has the advantage of moving up onwards and has the resources to do that. I think that is important to remember about all of this.
Yeah, but I think that's it. We can basically move on, because there's only so much we can say right now. Like, you know what I mean? The program hasn't even started yet. But it's important to remember, the last thing I'll say is that those Cinderella stories always happen. Dan Rosen and I were discussing this like a month or two ago, which is, it's just sort of like, it's just one of those inevitable things that just happens. It's like, I'm not going to go so far as to say it's like akin to a law of nature or something, but it always happens. It always happens that some tier 2, tier 3 dark horse from the CIS rolls in and upsets somebody, and then they make it all the way to the finals, and they, like, it just does. It just always happens. Like, it's just
absolutely.
The nature of, and why it is that a team like Liquid, with, as you've said, all the financial stability, right, all of the, like, emotional stability, like, in the sense they have, you know, they got the personal trainers, they got the kitchen, they got the everything, they got the best strategists, they got whatever, gets upset by, like, some qualifier team, right? Like, that's just sort of the nature of esports, and that's what we love to see. It's someone in here said instability and chaos are the only things I find entertaining. I get it I understand, but you're being disingenuous when you phrase it in those terms, right? What we're trying to say is we want to watch the best competition all the time, and by definition, franchising stifles that. It stifles that supposedly in the name of a greater cause. Supposedly it is in the name of a greater cause, and I understand that. I understand that argument, but it does by definition stifle the so-called open competition. Right, and we always love to see the open competition. It's just by far the most entertaining. Like for those of you who maybe there are not many of you, but for those of you who are watching the RMR BO1s today for CS:GO, like those teams, those matches are always the most fun. That are always the most fun. Gamer Legion took FaZe Clan to overtime in a BO1, like. That should never happen in a million years.
Right.
And FaZe closed it out, but it was like an absolute squeaker. It was like they were shaking in their pants closing that game out. It was so crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like, and everyone tuned in to watch that game because it was so sick, right? So that's what, open, quote unquote, open circuit gives you. And that will always be the best from a purely, I just want to throw on a Twitch stream and watch a sick fucking game, perspective. So anyway.
Yeah. To be clear, like that is like super important. Like those do happen regardless of whether it's open. Like in an open qualifier, like people will make it through eventually. Just we do have also the teams like the Sentinels who will also be in those open qualifiers is what I'm trying to say as well.
Yes. Yes.
So, but how fun is that? Wow, guys, isn't that great? Wow, we just talked for an hour almost.
About franchising.
And I see the comments. I see the comment. You guys want to talk about Rostermania, don't you? You want to talk about the people. You want to talk about the players. You want to see where they're moving. You want to see where they're going. I think a great place to jump off from are like the teams that didn't make it, like Optic. Like they did not. Optic is not Optic. The organization is not in it, so now their players are able to be free. There are a couple of rumors with Optic. For example, there's a rumor that Cloud9 is trying to sign Ye or will sign Ye. There's also a rumor that NRG is going to sign Chet, their coach. Pujon, FNS. I think Crashies and Victor. No, I think it's just Victor and I have it written down. Crashies and Victor. Yeah, I'm right. Haha. Because I don't know if you saw all the Twitlongers from NRG that went up at the same time, but literally everyone but Som was moved into some sort of free agency. But that is, it's kind of wild, no? It's just kind of, everything happens so quickly, and like all of a sudden NRG makes it, literally gets rid of almost everyone and then brings them in. And I believe also there's a rumor that Artis is going to join NRG as the last, one of the last players.
Yeah,
from FPX, because FPX also did not make franchising partner
Didn't
program.
they win the thing?
They're winners.
What was it? They won Masters, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Or no, did they win?
Yes, they beat. Yes, they did. They beat Piperex. I remember that.
And who beat Optic again in the
Loud.
champions? Loud beat them. Okay, yeah.
So it's exciting, but that's just it's a crazy team. Speaking of C9, it was just announced today. Like I think it was officially announced via Cloud9's Twitter that Mitch has been allowed to go or like let go.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But so Mitch is gone. I think I heard there's a rumor that Curry is also allowed to enter sort of restricted free agency. Yeah, he announced it. He put out a Twitter. He's a restricted free agent. And there's rumors that Zelsis, formerly of Sentinels, now on V1, so he went V1, Sentinels V1, will be joining them along with Ye, that's a team. Whew. But along with so far Leaf, Vanity, and Zeppa on Cloud9.
And then
And also the rumors that MCE is going to be their
which
coach.
for those of
which
you who
is...
don't know is a reunion that we waited 2 years. It's happening in a different esport, but we waited 2 years to see Chaos CSGO get reunited. The greatest tragedy of NA CSGO is that Chaos, Leaf, Vanity, Zeppa, Steel, John G. Steel was then replaced with Marky when he switched to Valorant. The team had to, and MCE was the coach, had to disband and split up. And then gradually, like, Vanity went to V1, right? Zeppa went to Cloud9 CSGO, and then Cloud9 picked up Vanity, and then they switched Zeppa from CS to Valorant, and then they got Leaf, obviously, and then so now it's this whole reunion that's happening, which is great. We love to see it. John G is still playing CS, obviously, for Evil Geniuses, so that likely reunion will not happen, and I don't imagine. Although I don't know, does Steel still play competitively?
Valorant?
Yeah.
So he was on T1, right? But T1 got the Pacific spot, so he is leave looking for other options.
What? Okay, yeah.
So T1 has Zeta, Munchkin, and then a ban from Knights. So exciting. Munchkin, rather. I don't like call him Munchkin. But yeah. So that's just the beginning, guys. I think that's the craziest part about all of this is like there is so much movement happening that it's kind of hard to keep track of everything. Like I've like 2 different pieces open to like keep track of it. And I'm just like, like, and I think, of course, like I think I see all the comments about it. I think we should need to talk about it. Global Esports announced not a while back, but a little bit ago, that they're going to try to field a 10-man roster, which is really interesting. And for all you guys know, like I believe the requirements are 5 players and a 6th and a coach that you have to submit. But Global Esports, who is in the Pacific Partnership, said, we're going to field a 10-man roster. And literally right before the stream, I told Dimitri, Aaron, who was on Xset, then they didn't make partnership, is going to be on Global Esports and be their IGL. Which is interesting. I wonder how you feel, Dimitri, about a 10-man roster.
10-man rosters are tough. We've seen them in CSGO. Teams have tried them. Like Vitality tried it and Astralis tried it. They are the 2 most notable examples. 10's a lot. I will say that. 10's a lot. Like when Vitality did it, it was with Nivera, who is now of Valorant fame. And they were subbing in Nivera, for Shocks on like, and I think Mizuta occasionally on certain maps. So like, oh, it's Inferno. Let's get Nivera in there. Or Shoxy had a bad map one. Let's pop Nivera in there. That's one thing because you're just subbing out a player for a player. Just like in, sort of in soccer, like you'll have like a guy who goes out at the half for another guy, right? But a 10-man roster is tough. Yeah, it's tough. Because someone's saying EG failed big time with a 15-man roster. I mean, they just beat Furia an hour ago, and they've also announced this like 2 months ago or whatever it was. So like, let's maybe chill with the EG slander. It really bothers me. It's like I literally like an org literally comes in, signs 3 rosters, and tries to save North American Counter-Strike, and literally everyone is out here just being like, "Oh lol, EG, so stupid." Like, just chill. But
I just want to say a side note. When the 15-man roster came out, I begged our social team to edit our faces onto the announcement, like posted it as news and see if anyone noticed it. Being like, oh, EG signed a 15-man roster. I was like, please edit our faces onto it, see if anyone notices. But that
was like the funniest thumbnail we ever did for Donami, where we just literally Magoo put Stewie's head on 15 different CS:GO models. It was the funniest thumbnail I've ever seen. It was so funny.
Also, I believe Stewie 2K, speaking of Stewie, has expressed interest in playing professional Valorant.
He has. I saw that. Yeah.
You know him better than I do, Dimitri. Considering that he's been in your world the entire time, and I kind of know him of infamy. Do you think, one, he could succeed and two, people would want to sign him?
I think people would definitely want to sign him. Stewie is sort of like that Shroud factor. It doesn't really matter if they win. It's just having Stewie on your team is such a draw that it's such a big ticket that like of course you'd want him, right? Do I think he could succeed? For sure. I think Stewie is I think very highly of Stewie 2K. I always have. His unfortunate flameout in CS aside, I think he is a tremendous player who, when he's firing on all cylinders in either game, is really, really, really good. I don't know enough. I haven't spent enough time watching Stewie play Valorant. Like I've tuned into his stream from time to time, of course, but like I haven't spent enough time really, really like, watching him, like, right, like to know if he has what it takes to compete tier 1. It's important to remember that Shroud has actually been playing Valorant every day since the game came out. Stewie has been a pro CSGO player at the tier 1 level for basically 2 of the last 2.5 years, right? So he does have has some catching up to do. Like he is not dyed in the wool of Valorant the way that Shroud is. Right. And so putting Shroud in Sentinels and making him compete at a professional level, I think, is a different story than getting a guy who was playing at the last CS:GO major, right, to come in and do it. It's different. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think that Stu is probably still has a bit of a bone to pick, if I'm being completely honest. His flameout in CS really sucked, and I don't mean he really sucked. He wasn't great, but I don't mean he really sucked. I just mean it really sucked. Like it was just a really awful sort of ended with a whimper, not with a bang, end to his career. And the Europeans, who've always loved talking shit about Stewie, really enjoyed sort of thumbing their nose at him as he left professional CSGO. And I think that I don't know if he would try it in Val, like seriously or not. I don't know. But I definitely think that there's no question that like any team who wants the draw would sign Stu for sure. Like I don't think that's really a question.
Well, imagine if you're an Ascension team, right? I think someone said in chat. I'm sorry. Broke ass motherfucker said it in chat. Like if you're an Ascension team and you have someone just with the mechanical prowess of Stewie, he's also been spending a lot of time on Valorant.
Yep. I haven't seen him play CS even once. I think he mentioned it for that 24-hour stream. I think he mentioned that he might play. I don't know if he ended up doing it, but I've only seen him playing Valorant recently.
It's really, if you see him and you have the opportunity to, I don't know if Stewie would take it. I don't know him, but if he wants to compete and they want him, that could be really interesting, for sure. I wasn't saying no one's only option is partner teams. Is it a better guarantee? Maybe, but that is an option that's there. There's an option. Ascension teams are an option for all of these players, but we don't know what that Ascension League will look like yet, right? So that's the tricky part about all of this. Is like, do I make an Ascension team? Is Elizabeth Sports no longer the meme? Is it true?
I always said before. Oh.
Wait, no, don't hear me. Wait.
All right.
What if I just add? What if the Score Esports collaboration with Elizabeth Sports, we field an Ascension team and we make it into partner program? Thoughts?
Sure.
I think it could be cool.
Sure. Yeah, sure. No, let's go with that. Sure. I'm not out here stifling dreams, Liz. I'm not out here, you know what I mean? I'm all about that anime stuff. Like, don't, all about those anime storylines. Let's make some dreams come true.
This isn't an anime storyline. This is real life.
This is real life. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is reality. I don't know if Stewie. I said before he left CS:GO that I thought that he would leave, but I thought that he would leave to become a streamer. I think that I don't know if it's worth it for him to grind it out in Ascension of all places. Like, it's like, you know, he's a very, very big name. He's a Grand Slam winner. He's a major winner. You know, he's a tier 1 name that carries a huge pedigree, a huge content following. Like, I just, wouldn't it just make more sense for him to become a streamer? Like, wouldn't it just make more sense for him to, like, you know, he would make more money, I think. He would, you know, probably have more fun. He's been competing for a long time. If he still has the drive and he says, like, he would still willing to do it, I respect the hell out of that. It's one of the reasons I've always respected Stewie. But I just don't know if it's worth it for him to do it for, like, an Ascension roster. You know what I mean? Like, it might be one of those things where, like, he's Stewie 2K. Like, if you're gonna offer him a spot, it's gotta be on like a big boy team, right? Yeah, like, it's gotta be, because I just don't know if it's worth it for him to try to grind it out on, like, what is the equivalent of a Challenger League roster, right? But shrug, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, man. I think what happened to Stewie and CSGO over the last, you know, 6 months is so crazy that I just don't really know what to make. I don't think anyone knows what to make of, like, you know, what he does now or where he goes from here or whatever. I think it's, like, sort of so insane that I just, it's like, it's just, I don't know if there's, yeah, that's it. I don't really have much else to say on it. I just don't know I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
We wish the best.
Who know how we just talked about Stewie 2000.
Stuart, the esteemed young Stuart 2000.
It's all right, but let's keep on talking.
Yeah, let's keep
on walking and talking.
So the super team. So the super team is Cloud9, right? That's like the super team.
Well, here's the so glad you said that.
Set you up, Liz. Fastball down the middle.
You teed it up for me.
Fastball down the middle.
So there are a lot of rumors regarding Sentinels right now.
Okay.
And
I actually don't know them. So hit me up. Like, give me the.
They've let go of Raucus.
Okay.
They've signed XSET's coach, as well as Ghost Gaming's Kaplan as their strategic coach. There are a couple of rumors with signings. I see people talking about this in chat, and someone asked me my opinion on it. There was a rumor via an article that Shazam was going to be, like, let go and not on the team anymore, and he found out at the same time as everyone else on stream.
Ooh, that's an esports classic. That is that is a 2016 esports classic. Jesus.
Like, I watched it before my shoot this morning because someone sent it to me, and I looked, I was like, oh my God. Like, I cannot imagine finding out. I can't imagine just one finding that out, right? But then finding it out along with everyone, and probably your chats being like, you guys, wait, like, Shazam, did you see? Shazam, are you not with Sentinels anymore? Like, I've been in Shazam's chat. I'm a former subscriber of Shazam. Like, his chat is ruthless sometimes. I cannot imagine talking about that and just being like, hey guys, I didn't know this. Like, that's crazy. Like, that is
also for a guy who literally single-handedly built the roster. You know what I mean? Like, a guy who has been there since the beginning. That is not the way you want to do the boy.
It's official now? I'm on Sentinel's Twitter. They didn't tweet anything. Did Shazam tweet something? You guys lying to me? Are you guys debating?
Oh, I get debated by my freaking chat all the time when I do hot retakes.
I didn't see anything.
Classic. JW joined FaZe Clan. Check HLTV.
Yeah, so that's the Baby Cam Gear. There's a .esports article that says Sentinels signed Def and Zekin. Obviously, Def and Zekin are the former players of the now new head coach. I heard Raucus. Yeah, Raucus said he was like, I found out today. And I was like, oh.
Unfortunately, sometimes it happens like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are stories of players literally being replaced while they're still playing. There's a famous Dota pizza party anecdote of a player being replaced while they were still actively playing the qualifier, and they flew the new player into the team house, and they had to sneak him into the team house, and they didn't tell the existing player because they wanted him to play the qualifier, and they wanted him to, not have his mental shattered. So horrible like stories about this kind of stuff. It's insane. So anything in chat is talking about EG. I was literally watching EG. It's crazy. They beat Furia, which is nuts. Absolutely
Live evil.
Nuts.
Live evil.
Crazy nuts, dude.
But that's the talk of like the super team, right? There's a real opportunity there because if Shazam is out, there's also rumors that TenZ contract will just be allowed to expire. If TenZ is out, the only active person on that roster is Dapper. Because I don't believe Sick is playing competitively anymore. I haven't heard anything about that. And Sick is also my favorite NA player by far. I love Sick. But I also, like, to be clear, I want Sick's like priorities to be himself and not the game. Check HLTV device pregnant. Okay, guys, we're not.
The worst part is, the worst part? Some of you may have been here for that because I'm pretty sure it was a YouTube stream. The best part is I started streaming about 15 minutes before or something. JKS got signed to G2, and so I'm trying to like do my intro to Hot Retakes, and all my chat is just flooding with this JKS G2 thoughts on JKS going to G2, and I literally looked at like, I'm not getting baited, chat. I'm not checking HLT. I'm not getting baited, and they're like begging me. They're literally like, no, like go to HLT. It's real. Like go check it. I'm like, I'm not doing it, chat. I'm not doing it. And sure enough, he got signed to G2. But that's how on guard I am for these fucking baiters. Dimitri, who do you think will win the Rio Major? Check your username, dude. Because I had a strong prediction for Antwerp. I had a strong prediction for Stockholm. I have actually zero predictions for Rio. And I'm so excited because of that. I have absolutely zero idea who's going to win Rio.
Where would TenZ go if his contract run out? Other teams seems full, and EG doesn't seem to be dropping anyone.
I have a question.
Well, we don't know.
I have a question about the boy.
Okay, TenZ. I hope I have an answer.
So, is TenZ like? I don't know how to phrase this question. So like, how? I want to be clear. I'm not like, this isn't like a loaded question. I adore TenZ. Like I actually adore this kid. I think I thought he was insane in CS. I think he's insane in Valorant. I respect the hell out of him. I really like watching him. I think he's super cool. I'm honestly asking, is he like still crazy? Like, is he still this crazy superstar? Is there like a real chance that Sentinels let him go? Is there a real chance that he just like becomes a full-time content creator instead of trying to go to another team? Like, is there like to compete still? Like, do we know these things? Like, I just want to know, like, I'm trying, like, what's the temperature on the lad Tyson?
I think mechanically he is very good, right? Like that can't be denied. But I think also since we've had time to like have other talent in the scene develop, you can see that there are other people who are just as good as him.
That's crazy to me. That's just crazy to me. Just because mechanically this kid is just like on another level.
Yeah, no, he's insane, right?
Yeah.
But they're like, have you seen Ye play, Dimitri?
Yeah, but Ye is like, dude, Ye is like, I feel like Ye is probably, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like Ye is widely regarded right now as sort of like the get right of Valorant, like of early Valorant. Like he's just the best player in the world. He's just like all in with any weapon holistically. He's the best player in the world. Like he's just pound for pound. He's the best, as they say, right?
Yeah.
That's partly experience too. Like Ye's been playing for, at competitively for a lot longer than TenZ has. And I just think, TenZ famously hardcore choked in CS. That's just what it was. Not throwing shade. he just did. He just like literally they had to Cloud9 had to bench him. It was so bad. He just his stats were so bad, and everyone knew watching him play that this kid was like 10 times better than this. But he was a classic example of a player who just got so in his own head that he just like could not perform on stage. Now obviously that changed in Valorant. That's like one of the great things about his, glow up in Valorant. But he still strikes me as being a little bit of a player who has like otherworldly aim, but beyond that, it's the question of like, well, how good is his game sense? Like, how good is his, like positioning? Like, like how does he show up every match? Like, is it just mechanics and nothing else? Is it like blah blah blah? I feel like I don't spend enough time watching him play to see at a pro level sort of how he excels. Like someone's starting chat here, 10s equals Stewie. I feel like that's completely not at all true. Like Stewie is a mechanically gifted player, don't get me wrong, but that was never Stewie's forte. Stewie's forte is that he lived rent-free in the minds of his opponents. He was able to push smokes and get into rat spots and do disrespectful shit that nobody else dared to do and just kill you on game sense. He's sort of like Rops and Yakindar are sort of good examples of that now in CSGO, right? Like, but it wasn't his mechanics. Like he was a gifted player, of course, but it's just like, it wasn't like 10s strikes me as like Scream, dude. Like this kid just has aim that is just like illegal. Like it should not be physically possible to like flick the way this kid flicks. Like it's just so ridiculous, right? But the question is like, is there more to his game than that? If there's no answer to this, there's no answer to this. I'm just curious. I haven't checked in on him in a while.
I think, are you asking about Ye?
No. I know Ye's game. Ye, I feel like I'm asking about 10s.
Oh, 10s?
Yeah.
Well, here's the honest answer is we haven't seen him play in a while.
That's kind of, maybe that's one of the reasons I find myself asking this question, right? Like I just like,
Yeah.
Someone says,
there's also like
Grand Slam champ. Yes, I'm well aware that Stewart was a Grand Slam champ. I'm telling you how he became a Grand Slam champ.
No. I think it's we also have to talk about like cryo cells in the same, like cryo, or I guess he's just cryo now, godly aim and sense, and like I think there's like an argument for all of these people and more within the scene. We could talk for literally, we can make a whole entire episode just about this, right? Just like who is the best mechanical player in NA. But going back to the rumors, if his contract does run out and they do not choose to renew it, the only person left is Dapper, and that leaves 4 people. There are rumors that they will be Sentinels assigning Def and Zekin from Exet. So that's Zekin, Def, Dapper. There's 2 spots left.
Okay, this guy keeps asking about FaZe Clan. I gotta answer his question because he's just gonna
go.
I do think FaZe still have the same confidence in Carrigan calling. I just think that they are playing at like a 90% right now, where they were playing at 110% when they won the major. That's one. I think they're still feeling themselves. They're still like 5 of the best players in the world. They were just like they were overperforming at Antwerp. Like I just legitimately think that they were like on, and when they won Cologne, they were just going crazy. The second part of it is I just think other teams are getting better. You have to remember that SDY has been on the team for longer now on Na'Vi. They are gelling a little bit better, even though Na'Vi hasn't been looking like ultra hot. Liquid are looking really good. Obviously G2 are looking way better since getting Hooksy. So that's just the answer to your question. It's not that I don't think FaZe are like in some kind of crisis or anything. I just honestly think that other teams are catching up, and I think that they're just not feeling themselves, can't do no wrong the way they were when they won the major and in the wake of it. Anyway, sorry, Liz, go ahead.
No, you're good. I think you have to talk about Aspes absolutely. Like also we can't just limit it to NA, of course, right? Like you got to talk about Jing, you got to talk about all these mechanically gifted players, Scream,
my boy,
all these insane aimers. Your boy?
My boy Scream, dude. I love Scream. I still love Scream. Nivera too. Absolute goat. So what are the rumors that these boys are going to Carmine Core?
Yes, that's
right?
the rumor.
That's the rumor.
Yeah.
Okay. So that they're leaving Liquid, going to Carmine Core. That's interesting. That would leave Yampy alone, right? Maybe he goes back to CS? Copium? Copium?
So Soulcast and
I just mean
Mimic,
alone as like the players that I know. To be fair, I
right,
just
right,
mean
right,
like
okay,
like
okay.
the big CS trio that I know. Like, yeah. Ye was successful in CS. Also could have been top 10. That is and they accuse me of having copium. That is some of the biggest fucking NA copium I've ever seen. I respect the shit out of that. That is a hardcore, like fully just inhaling. You've liquefied the copium and you're just actually like hardlining it. I respect that. No shade to Ye. No shade at all to Ye. But that is a marvelous take.
I'm just scrolling through Twitter really quickly to make sure that we haven't missed a roster announcement.
There's so
Okay,
many of them that it's honestly, yeah, and it feels like they're
Yeah, I'm just like scrolling quickly to see if anyone's saying anything.
Is
Guys,
Ye
we're good?
also
Are we
good at
good?
CS or is he nobody? No, Ye was really good at CS. Ye is amazing at CS, but it's just that's not like it's a whole lot like right like he was NA as a region is just like right like is hard enough to succeed in NA and like get to an international tournament and to perform, right? Yeah, I'm not throwing shade against Ye. He's a really good player, but like, yeah, like that is.
Yeah, and I guess since we're talking about all of XSET, we've named everyone but BCJ. I haven't heard anything about BCJ, my boy, my bestie.
Are there rumors? You haven't heard anything? No rumors?
I haven't heard
Nothing.
anything.
Okay.
Colton, to answer your question,
Yeah.
there's a soft lock mid-October.
Interesting.
So soon.
That's
like
soon.
10-ish
Yeah, that's
days.
really soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nats and Redgar are probably going to Liquid.
That's also a rumor, yes.
So that makes sense because it coincides with Nivera and Scream leaving, right?
Yes.
Okay.
If we're to believe these reports.
If we're believing the reports, but we're just trying to make it's like fiddling a puzzle together, right? Yeah.
Yeah. We're like.
Are there rumors about Yampy? I know that Niall told me that he said on stream. First, he said on stream that he would actually consider. He was going to think about going back to CS after Champions, and then it seems like that's not the case anymore. Like he later said.
I have no clue.
I'm not trying to make this about CS. I'm just more interested in that one because that one is one that's I feel like if I'm Yampy and Scream and Nivera leave, I feel like I'm you know what I mean? Like I want to know what that new Liquid is going to look like. You know what I mean? Like for my own career standpoint, I kind of want to know like, you know, because if there's a chance, which I feel I call it copium, but I feel like Ents could sign Yampy tomorrow and I feel like he would still be nuts. He needs like 3 months to shake off the rust. And then I feel like he's back. You know, he's a really
Yampy would just get away with stuff. And I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yampy is a guy who a lot of people don't understand this. It's not just about being mechanically. A lot of people who never played Counter-Strike, you know, like play Valorant don't understand. It's not just about like, oh, you were really good at CS and now you're really good at Valorant. It's not just mechanics, dude. It's the level of competition. Yampy was playing in Tier 1 European Counter-Strike. The guy was playing Pro League matches against Simple twice a week. Like you go from that to like Valorant, right? Where like it's just the level of competition that this guy is used to playing at is crazy, man. He does nuts stuff. I love watching him play Val. I find him he's one of the very few players I think is just like stupidly entertaining.
Yeah.
I love him. He's so entertaining. I love watching him play.
Anytime I watch him, be like, oh god, good one. Like
he's nuts, man.
He's nuts. But yeah, I think the other thing, going back to BCJ, is there haven't been any rumors about him right now. They also could just be very under wraps.
Yeah, it's possible.
Do you guys have any paid cooperation with Riot? Considering our beginning half of the stream, absolutely not, Mr. Adam. But go off, King.
Go off.
But no, I think BCJ. I think we can all agree in chat. I'm not just saying this because like I'm a VIP in BCJ chat, but like I think I really enjoy just like he's a good guy. He went, as I like to say, dumb litty. Like, me not hearing anything about him right now is really disappointing because I think he is so talented and so good, and if truly no one is trying to seek him out, that is a shame. And again, there's like I don't trying to like remove my bias of like you know, like being able to message him and be like, hey, Henry, what's up? You know, like I think I just don't know what they're waiting for. You know what I mean? Like I mean, have you seen BCJ play, Dimitri?
No, I haven't. I've heard you talk about him before, but I haven't.
He is I mean, besides the fact he's like an entertaining player, right? He's just again, like some of the stuff he gets away with. You're like, Brendan. Like I I don't know. If he doesn't find a spot in the partner program, I think that that is a fumbled bag, in my opinion. But yeah, Colton, thank you for answering that. Um, but yeah, and also people are saying uh EG. We have not heard anything about EG.
I said this in our workshop the other, but I would like say this. I don't know anything about what EG's moves are going to be. Of course, they may end up.
Neither do we.
No one knows, it seems. What I will say is this: they are winning at Worlds right now with the same. Like obviously Danny's not there, but like you know they signed 2 rookies and 1 LCS, and then now they went deep at MSI. They're going deep at Worlds. They just 2-0'd Furia and denied them legend status at Rio, which is, as someone in chat already pointed out, a very big deal. And they are doing it with this like new model of theirs where they basically just like sign up and comers and then just see what they can get out of them. And I will say that I would be very surprised if EG do what everybody else is doing and like build a quote unquote super team. I think EG are very much running with this philosophy of, you know, as the old saying goes, right? Like you dance with the date that you brought, right? Like you don't make partner, you know, with a bunch of kids who are giving their heart and soul to this team, and then the second that you make partner, be like, oh, you know, Ye's available, great, let's just like cut him a fat paycheck, right? Like, I think that they are very much going to try to run with this roster that they have, and they're going to try to see what they can, you know, how they can develop it and what they get, because it's just frankly it's just working for them. It's working for them in Counter-Strike, and it's working for them in League of Legends. So I would be very surprised.
Marcus, this man could be out of pro play for medical conditions at any moment. I wouldn't sign, honestly. That's referring to BCJ's medical conditions. No, absolutely not. That's a very dangerous path of thinking for anyone to say, oh, they have some sort of, you know, whether it be physical, emotional, mental condition, I don't want to sign them. It's bordering on ableism.
People have said that. People said that about Device at the beginning of 2017.
You can't. Yeah. I really don't like that line of thought. And honestly, what has BCJ done to make your statement true? Like, what has he done to be like, oh, right, like that's like what? No, I can't, because listen to me. Like, I have anxiety and panic disorder, right? Sometimes I have days where I just have really, really bad days about you just whatever. If you were to look me in my eyes, and this is not me apples and oranges with the situation we're talking about, you would look me in my eyes and say, well, I don't want to work with you because you sometimes have, you know, a tendency to like panic. That is so wrong and not okay. And I think we should not be in that line of thinking and move past that.
Someone's asking what I meant about Device. Yeah, this happened on Device. So Astralis, Liz, they won, and others in chat who don't know, Astralis, who've won 4 CSGO majors, obviously. Their first one was in the beginning of 2017. They won, and Device famously fell quite ill after. I think it was the end of that year. Fell quite ill with some stomach stuff. I don't remember the exact details, but I remember that it was like sort of a chronic thing. It was like it was something that he'd been whatever, and he had to take like a pretty serious like extenuated break from the team. They weren't sure they were going to get to play with him. It was looking like Astralis might kind of and Kiarby, very famously, their superstar 17-year-old MVP from the major, betrayed the team. Like, he just like abandoned the team, signed with somebody else under their nose, thought Astralis was a sinking ship, left them. Device went on to win 3 consecutive CSGO majors and set the all-time world record for MVPs for tournaments, which Simple just only recently broke, and is widely considered, he is one of the most decorated players of all time and is widely considered to be the most consistent player to ever touch the game. So don't chalk up that kind of stuff to, if it's funny. The irony is that not like Simple is not considered, Device is not considered to be the GOAT, but he is considered to be the most consistent player to ever touch the game. So just little history lesson.
Any sort of like medical or chronic condition, or whether it be mental, physical, emotional, that I don't subscribe to that line of logic. I don't think you should either, as some sort of impairment, because that I think is a very dangerous and problematic line of thinking. But yeah, sorry, I just saw that comment and I got mad.
No problem. Sorry to cut you off, Liz.
No, but yeah,
no, I'm with you. I agree. It's a silly line of thinking, and it's it's just not. And probably out of chat is saying thanks for letting me know much for I just for sure. A lot of people don't know that. People know the recent success of Device. They know the 3-time 2018, 2019 major winner. A lot of them don't remember back in Atlanta 2017, around that time. Yeah, people like literally Astralis won their first major, and then it looked like they were going off a cliff. People were convinced that they were gonna like just be no more, and they went on to become the greatest Counter-Strike lineup of all time.
Yeah. All this to say, where is BCJ going? Where's my boy going?
Someone said Dimitri watch a BCJ video after this. I will. Part of the reason I want to do the show is because I want to, learn more about Pro Valorant. So, but I will. I'll be sure to watch. I'll be sure to watch a video.
I think I don't know if you saw this, but there's a moment where this team wants something in group, like Xset wants something in groups, and like he's doing a pro interview and he goes like, I don't want to swear, but like they're gonna, and like is alluding to saying they're gonna get like whatever, and then they're like at the end of the interview and he goes, rep the fucking set, baby, and then he just ends the interview going, oh no, like because you're gonna get like a fine. It was so funny. But yeah, who are the other people we can talk about? Ghost. I mean, I have to talk about Ghost Gaming.
Sure.
My boys are about Ghost Gaming. I had an idea that they weren't going to make the partner program. Again, kind of talking about like what Riot was looking for. Those boys are so good. Like Nismo, like
a Proto. I know Proto is the guy who, I know he's your boy, but he's the one who got absolutely scammed by that server prop.
Yep.
But that's the famous clip of him. Like he was in the 1v2 and he had both those guys dead to rights and he got scammed, right? Oh,
when it was on LG.
Dude, that is absolutely. I still think about that clip sometimes. God, that was rough. I would be fucking mauling, dude. I would be so mad. I would get Mark Merrill on the phone. Like he's so mad. Oh my god, I'd be so tilted. Jesus.
I think I wrote that piece of when that LCQ kind of went all wrong, and Niall interviewed a Proto after that moment.
Oh no.
And he was like, yeah, I fucking had that. Like it was, yeah. But now I go into a Proto stream and wreak havoc. So join me, won't you? But I mean, like Nismo is an insane initiator. John QT had maybe the most insane clutch Valorant has ever seen. Truly one of the most do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't think so.
Oh my god. I honestly don't want to say it. I want you to after this, I want you to look up John QT clutch.
All right.
And
I'm making two notes. BCJ
and John QT clutch. Look at the timer.
Okay.
Before the plant.
Okay.
And then just enjoy.
Okay.
John QT was also the IGL of Ghost Gaming. For some reason, I always thought it was Nismo, but it is John QT. I mean, all those boys are so good, and so I think that that's the dilemma of all of this, right? Is you have, it's tricky. Do you think that Valorant as a game will expand to other game modes outside of 5v5? No, I don't think so. But it would be cool. Would it be cool? No.
What's the question? Sorry, I was reading the.
Do you think that Valorant as a game will expand to other game modes outside of 5v5s? I don't think so.
I mean, League has. I'll say this: League has done that more than like any of the other like quote unquote esport titles, right? Like you know, they have ARAM in League of Legends. They have that other one, I think, something Howling Abyss. I don't know, but yeah, there's obviously a bunch of stuff they have. Who knows? I don't think they'll do it from an esports standpoint. I think they'll just play 5v5 bomb, obviously, like esports, but there might be other game modes like. So 100 Thieves.
I hate one really quickly.
Yeah.
Zekin just tweeted a paper emoji, a pen and a hand emoji, and a check mark emoji. He hasn't said what or who, but
the rumor is that he's going to
use Sentinels.
Sentinels, yes, okay.
Yes, so okay. Mayhaps.
Okay. Okay.
So, everyone go like that tweet. Everyone say, "Wow, Elizabeth just talked about this on stream. You should come say hi, Zekin." You know,
let's get Zekin in here, man.
It's good. Like, I mean, I think we have to ask because he's 17. We have to ask his parents for permission.
Oh,
no?
True.
Yeah, I am a mod in his chat though. If you join Zekin streams, I can ban you. But that's exciting. So there's something happening. There's movement. Again, like there's no movement at EG. We don't know what's going on there. But
are they going to move anybody? Like, why is this right? I'm asking like the noob question, but I mean this. Like, why is there expectation that there's going to be movement over to EG just because there's all these free agents? Is that it?
I mean, like, I think the expectation is like you have this opportunity to build a super team, right? And so if you can afford it, which I believe EG can, like, why don't you take it? Not that the boys at EG aren't great.
Yeah.
But you kind of have an opportunity where there's so many free agents. If you're missing something, you know, if Potter sees something that is needed, you know, like, and sees it, you know, sees it in a proto, you know, et cetera, like she and along with everyone else can make that decision. I think that's why people are expecting it, because literally everyone else has shown signs of life.
Yeah.
And so
maybe they believe in their team. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong.
No, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
I also will just say that, like, there's only two routes for super teams. One, it's the meme that the stick do something. Like, that's one. They like let's say, I'll just take Cloud9 as an example, but like let's say like Cloud9 get all the biggest names. We've seen this in esports 100 times. FaZe Clan, Team Secret, right? G2 and Siege. Like, you see this all the time, and they just are resoundingly mid. Like, just super mid. There's the role like collides, like they just can't like. And on the other hand, they have that honeymoon period where they just go crazy for like a month, and then they just fizzle out and just completely like implode, right? Like it just feels like super teams. There's not a great track record, like history of super teams in esports doing particularly well. Like this FaZe Clan team in CS:GO, this team is literally like 6 years in the making. Like, it took 6 years for this team to finally get a combo that could win a major and, you know, win a slam and like win tournaments consistently. Like, it's so, I don't know, maybe EG are just being cautious. They're just like, they don't want to do a thing where they dish out a huge amount of money for some super player and then, or a bunch of super players, and then it just doesn't. I mean, look what happened to them in CS:GO. Like, they signed the super team, the NA super team with Stewie, right? And then it was like literally one of, if not the biggest disaster in the history of the game. So,
right. Just
saying. And yet their rookies are like winning fucking worlds, right? They have like 2 18-year-olds like who are like winning worlds. Like, I just feel like EG's in a place right now where they are like, you know, they are trying to just roll with the organic, grass-fed, locally sourced, you know, kitties, instead of just signing yay or whatever and being like, all right.
Yeah. I think something that is interesting is FaZe right now.
What's
as
FaZe
far
doing?
as I know, it's weird because FaZe released their coach.
Okay. Do they still have Baby Bay?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think Baby Bay has announced any sort of any sort of restricted or unrestricted free agency. But I believe other people on FaZe have. Let me just quickly check. Let me make sure. Yeah, they moved Flya, Dicey, and Superman to restricted free agency.
Okay.
But not Baby Bay. Which is interesting. I'm also Loud. I think you'll find this interesting. I don't know if you know this. You know how Loud won champions?
Yeah.
Their coach is no longer with Loud.
Dude, like, this happened to Empire earlier this year with in Siege. They made the finals of the Invitational, grand finals of the World Championship, and then like a month later, because of the invasion and stuff like that, largely kind of, but whatever, they let go of the whole team, and like basically, and people were just like deeply confused. Like, if you have a winning formula, like why would you don't touch it? Like, just don't, you know what I mean? Like, if it works, if it's fixed, don't break it, please. Weird. Yeah. Weird.
I don't think Poise has also.
Weird.
Yeah, it's like Poise is. I'm still looking to compete and figure out this offseason, but coaching sessions are available through DM for now. So if you guys want coaching sessions, hit up Poised. But yeah. So that it's like I don't think BBB has said anything regarding it. I don't know what kind of contract he has or anything like that, but that is, if everyone else has been kind of like doing something, but
I mean, someone just said in chat, it's distinctly possible, right, that you know, the players do break up or at least re-sign with somebody for higher salaries. Like, they are champs winners, right? Like, it certainly makes sense that, like, you know, they could. I was just surprised that, like, you know, you don't have a team like, I know Loud made the partner program, right? Yes. But I'm just surprised that like an MIBR or something didn't come along and just like offer them a bunch of money and basically be like, hey, you guys just won the world championship. Would you like to be the biggest Brazilian team playing for the biggest Brazilian org? Like, I just feel like that, you know, could have happened, but
yeah, it's interesting. It's like a lot of these moves are kind of like very unexpected, and it's like, what have these orgs been waiting for?
I don't know, man. I guess it just goes to show that like they really were just as sort of, you know, out to lunch as we were in terms of who would make it and what it would look like and the way it would shake the scene up, right? Who knows? Like, just who knew, you know, going into it, and I get that. Do you think Shazam will? I feel like it's pretty safe to assume that Shazam will probably just like lean full time into streaming, right? What do you think?
I know he said that he thought about doing that after Last Champions.
Yeah, I mean he's had, and I say this with a lot of respect, like he has had a long career in both games.
Yes,
he has had a long career, and like with Hiko, right? Like I could so totally see him just saying like, look, I've built up a phenomenal content creation following. You know, I won something, you know what I mean? Like I won an international LAN. Like I can retire, with the trophy on my shelf with some silverware, and just sort of live the cushy streamer life.
Yeah. He has a very popular stream too.
Yeah, I love his stream.
Yeah,
I love his stream in CS. His stream is super fun in CS. He's a really funny guy. Funny guy.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a possibility. But yeah, I mean, he is a good IGL, and he's also like.
Do you think if there's a team who comes along and offers him real money to be like, hey, do you want to IGL? Like EG, I'm just picking them, but like EG comes along and they're like, hey, we got a bunch of young kids. Someone in chat mentioned Calm earlier. My boy Calm played for Mythic with Flom. That's how I know him. I don't know anyone on that team. Obviously, I know Potter, but I don't know anyone on that team aside from Calm. And I only know Calm because I used to watch him play on Mythic. Absolutely cracked. He's so talented. Love to see this for him. But what if they go to him and they're like, hey, we have a bunch of young, you know, like unseasoned players. We need like a veteran, you know, IGL. We need we want you to sort of like steer the ship, right? Do you think he would take it, or do you think that?
I don't know. I don't know. After finding out on stream that I'm being most likely dropped, that would leave a really sore taste in my mouth. And I don't.
Who knows, man? Maybe that gives him that anime.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like,
that happens. That happens in esports all the time, right? You get that.
Yeah.
You know,
well, that's what Hayes said.
Yeah.
Hayes said that like which I was shocked, NRG dropped him. But he did say on stream before all of this, he's like, the only person I would be happy to take my job would be FNS, and it looks like it might be happening. But it would. He said like, well, if I compete and I come back and essentially I want to destroy NRG. And you were like, yeah, that's so fair. Like, that is absolutely fair. He's like, I love NRG. Like, no work is treating me better, blah, blah, blah. But I want to destroy them. And I think that's like an absolutely like fair thing. So maybe that could happen with Shazam. That could happen.
Bro, esports is littered with anime revenge stories. Like, this is what happened with OG, like, in Dota. Like, just, it happens all the time. You do see it. So, who knows? Maybe this lights the fire under his ass, you know what I mean? And he just decides he wants to go crazy. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
And we'll see with... Are there any rumors? I'm sorry, because this may have been said earlier, but I sort of didn't really piece it together. Are there any rumors about TenZ, or is it just speculation about his contract ending and we don't know?
There's just speculation about his contract.
Okay. Like, he hasn't re-signed, so we don't know. Okay.
Okay, sorry, there was a tweet from Sentinel CEO 13 minutes ago about Shazam finding out he's no longer upon Sentinels when he was streaming. He quote tweeted, but
this is on the Sentinel Twitter account?
This is on Rob Moore Esports. He said, I want to clarify the situation with Shazam. On September 21st, I reminded him he did not have a contract for next season. We were most likely bringing in new coaches. They would decide the new roster, and he was free to contact other teams. He had a long talk with our coaches, and no contract was offered. Before he had signed new players, George Geddes leaked roster moves while Shaz was on stream. That was not an announcement from the team. The timing was unfortunate, but certainly not a surprise.
Okay. I mean, that's tough, man. That's really tough.
Oof. I got the bot. That is...
I was about to get him. That's tough. That's tough. No question. That's tough.
That is oof.
That's tough. You don't like to see the boy get done like that. Like I said, especially for a guy who like basically built the team, right? That's rough. I feel like he deserves better. I sort of hope he as someone said here, the Shazam Revenge Arc 2020, the Shazzy Revenge Tour. Let's go. I'm all in for that storyline. Let's go.
So Shaz knew beforehand that he was getting dropped, but lied. I don't know, man. I don't know if it was a lie. I mean, this is right now. This is a he said, she said.
Yeah. But keep in mind, he also could have been like reacting to it being public, right? Like, there's also the thing of like, because like you're saying that the CEO is saying that he knew.
He said, he had a long talk with their coaches and no contract was offered. Before we had signed new players, George Geddes leaked roster moves while Shaz was on stream. That was an announcement for the team. The timing was unfortunate, but certainly not a surprise.
Okay. Well, it's possible that who knows? Right? Obviously,
who knows?
But it's just possible like I said, it's possible he's reacting to it being public as well. Like, it's a difference to like know it, and then it's a different to be like streaming and like see it on Twitter, right? And who knows? But
yeah. But yeah, so that was the thing. Thank you, whoever in chat said that. Thank you for the update.
Yeah.
On that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about this. So Trent, someone in chat mentioned. So Trent, so obviously MCE is rumored heading to Cloud9.
Yeah.
What about the rest of that team? Who's the other one? Saya player? Is that his name?
There's Saya player, Trent, Valen, Net, and Jonah P.
Okay. So what happens to that team?
That
because Boom, not Boom. I meant Boom. The Guard has money. Mm-hmm. They have money.
Yes, they do.
They're like an org with like investor money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, do they stick it out? Do they like do Ascension? Do they like what do they do?
I mean, I believe from let me just go back to my sources. They have whatchamacallit, the players have been given restricted free agency.
Interesting. Okay, so I wonder if somebody picks them up like as 5, or if they piecemeal them. I will say that I think it's less compelling to pick them up as 5 if you don't have Matt anymore. I do think that that's a little bit less enticing. Like, I think the idea of picking up the 5 plus the coach is like a really great, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're an org and you just wanted like a drag and drop Valorant roster, like that's a really good way to do it.
Drag and drop Valorant roster.
Just slap a logo on them and you're like, you play for us now, right? But it's a little bit tough, I feel like, if they don't have Matt anymore, because I feel like Matt sort of like was the shepherd. You know what I mean? He was the
He's the guard father.
He was the guard father. He was the guiding light.
Yeah.
So
there's also people saying Saya is rumored to go to T1. Where do you all have that rumor from? Because I don't know that rumor. But if that is true, that kind of checks out. Oh, you mean the article that was just posted a minute ago? Y'all are too quick. I swear to God.
These kids don't touch grass.
Stop
man.
this, guys. So
they should check out our hoodie on the Score Esports merch.
Oh my God, I want to get some merch. Blix.gg said sources Saya is set to sign with T1.
Okay.
Y'all need to chill. How are y'all that quick?
Yeah, they're fast, bro. They're fast.
What? How do y'all do that? I am so confused. But yeah.
Okay.
That was
curious,
so.
Yeah.
No, that was.
So
chat,
Trent, where does
impressed me
Trent go?
more and more.
Where does Trent go? Who signs Trent? What
Who needs
NA
it? Who needs a
team-
cracked initiator?
Yeah, what NA team comes along and signs this kid and turns him into the Bolo of North American Valorant?
It's tricky because I'm trying to see like what team needs an initiator, because he's I think primarily the guards initiator, and I don't know also, like I can't do the import rule math in my head right now, so I don't know if he could be it's really tricky. News about tens? Is there news about tens, or are you guys baiting me? Because Trent has no offer so far, judging from his comments on Twitter. That's crazy.
That's nuts, dude. That kid is so good.
That's crazy.
He is so good.
There's literally Trent's gameplay made me be like, I had one like thought. I'm like, there's no way. Is that possible? Like, there's no way.
He's crazy. I don't watch a lot of Valorant. Like, I watch a lot of Valorant highlights, and like they sort of feel like if you guys watched ESL over the weekend, Nico was memeing about this. They did like the interview thing with him, the Google thing, and he was just like, I don't really understand why. He's like, people post clips on Twitter like Valorant highlights, and they're like proud of these, like Keck W, like it's like so slow and easy and blah blah blah. He was going in. He was going all in. I'm not going that far. What I'll say is that I don't often watch a Valorant highlight and go like, holy shit, or like, oh my God, that was insane. Dude, I watched Trent play Valorant and I'm like, dude, this kid is nasty. He is actually, it's not just his aim. His game sense is like otherworldly, man. That kid is really prescient. I think EG, a few people mentioned it here, but like EG, that's a signing that I could see them, that I would support. That would be sick if they picked up Trent. But
yeah,
he's nuts.
It's I'm sorry, I'm looking at all these one imported player max. No, right, I know, Kevin, but it's also the question of like what teams have imported players. Like, so I can't do that math in my head right now. I need to like make a spreadsheet, and I don't have the ability to make one right now because I'm talking to you guys.
I also feel for what it's worth, like Trent is the kind of player. I haven't spent a shitload of time watching him, but from what I have seen of him, I feel like he's the kind of player who would excel on a lot of different roles too. I actually feel like he is the kind of player who, if you put him on, like, he could be on Sova or Brimstone or Jet, and I feel like he would be really serviceable. He strikes me as the kind of player who's just has such a deep game sense that he could be very dynamic.
BCJ just tweeted, GE fighting Hashtag T1 win. Hashtag Sentinels win. Hashtag Live Evil. Hashtag C9 win. Hashtag 100 Thieves. Hashtag Energy Fam. Hashtag Vamos a what's Jugar? Hugar? Somos MIBR. B Leviathan. DRX win. I love BCJ. Yes. So BCJ is shorting all of those teams. You heard it here first at the Score Sports.
Yes.
I think Jonah P is a solid player. Also deserves it. Jonah P. You would also rhymes with Jonah P. Consistency. That man is so consistent. Like, it is insane. It's no, I got a funny message. Liz, you suck, go away, and boring. Hell yeah, brother. But basically, it's Jonah has always truly inspired me with his consistency. It's plain Spanish. Thank you so much, Kay. It's if you're looking for someone who's consistent, you can count on someone. Jonah, for sure. Like, pick up Jonah. Also has a cute cat named Luca.
It's a good name for
But yeah. Have you seen this cat, Luca?
I think I have, actually.
You're a cute cat.
Yeah,
You're a cute cat.
So I guess, like, that's sort of it in terms of, like, I mean, there's so many moves, right? Like, we're not can't get through all of them, but, like, I feel like those are certainly the highlights. Yeah.
Do you have any questions for me, Dimitri, as someone who's like new to the
pro scene?
Yeah.
I saw someone here just posted about Nats. Team Liquid is the rumor. That would be interesting for sure. How's his English? Is it good?
Who?
Nats. How's his English? Is it good?
I believe.
Like, I've heard him talk in English, but I don't know, like, how good, like, you know what I mean? Like, if he's, like, comfortable calming in English, but.
I believe he's fluent.
Okay. I've heard him talk, like, once, I think, for, like, a winner's interview or something, but. Cool.
But, and if someone can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he's fluent.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that'd be cool.
Who do you think is the best opera in EMEA? Ooh, that's a good question.
CNED, bro.
Oh,
CNED, bro.
CNED, yeah, CNED.
CNED's crazy, dude.
No, I know Nats is Russian, but I don't know he also speaks English.
Yeah, that's what we're asking. Just to be clear, yeah, of course he's Russian. It's just we're asking how his English is, because obviously if he goes to Liquid, he's going to be calming in English. So
yeah,
because they're an international team.
But trying to think of best opera in EMEA, I'd say CNED. Yeah,
Yampy? I could accept Yampy as an answer.
Yampy's good. I still have to give it to CNED though.
The reason I'll say not is because I think that Yampy is also an extraordinary rifler. I feel like he was in CS, he was a really good secondary opper, really good. But I think CNED is just like as an opper, that dude's nuts, man. Where am I from? I'm from Canada, but my name is Romanian, which someone asked earlier. Yampy better. I love all these Yampy stands. You love to see it in chat. I'm a huge Yampy fanboy.
It's still mind-boggling to me that the rumor Energy will pick up Artis. I mean, one import. That's your import.
One import.
And Artis is. What are the words to describe Artis? Cracked. Insane.
Nasty. Nutty.
Dumb litty, as I like to say. If I describe you as dumb litty, it means you're insane at what you do. But I mean, yeah, Artis is like, you could talk about like CNED, Yampy, Artis, like we could have like that again could be like a whole episode about just like talking about all of them. Yeah, I've seen a lot of artists and you're not American. I'm the only American on the content team.
She's the only one.
Venkat.
We're all Canadian. So, she's the only American.
Well, Danny's also.
Oh yeah, but I meant like you're right. Yeah. But he lives in Canada. He's lived in Canada for like 7 years or whatever. Yeah.
Now I'm like so nervous. I keep refreshing Twitter. I'm like, are we missing anything? Like, it's.
Who's the best opera in NA?
Ooh.
Aside from OC, who's the best opera in NA?
Who is the best opper in NA?
It's got to be Ye, dude. It's got to be Ye.
Ye is a great opper. I'm just going through lists in my head right now. I'm just like going through every single roster in my mind. Thoughts on the leaked NRG roster? I did not see that one coming. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did not see that one coming. The rumored liquid lineup is exciting. Nats, Redgar, Safe, Soulcast, and EMP. Yay, 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 yay.
It's Ye.
Yay, yay.
Ye does that thing. This is not shade. This is in CS. This is how it works. Ye does that thing with Chamber that really good Counter-Strike operas do, where they just show you how fucking broken it actually is. Like, they always position themselves in exactly the right place, and they just abuse it, and it's impossible to deal with. Like, it feels so oppressive, and like his game sense and his positioning is just it's like, if for anyone who watched the ESL final this past weekend, Zaiwu did this the entire BO5. He's always holding the right angle. He just knows. Like, he's always in the right place, and he just makes that in Valorant, it's like, you know, whatever, the agent choice, the ult, the also buying op, of course, but like, and in CS it's just the weapon, but like he's so hard to deal with, man. Like, it's really, yeah, he's nuts. He's really, really good. He's really good.
He did.
And I've never complimented a Chamber player in known history. In known history, I've never done it. So like, the fact that I'm complimenting his Chamber is special.
Yeah, I just like to always just go through like literally everyone I know in a region just to make sure I'm not missing anyone. But yeah, I think it would be Ye. Zaiwu, is that God? Thoughts on Saya player? I love Saya. Saya's given 2 of my favorite interviews. I love Saya. And if he is signing with T1, that is awesome. It makes me very, very happy for him. Considering we just got that news upcoming. Thoughts on Tens in upcoming season. We talked about it earlier. Yeah. If his contract does run out and Sentinels does not re-sign, that's a... I mean, we were talking about it, he might just be a content creator. Who's the best opper in the world? Oh God.
I personally, and I'm not the guy to ask, I'm just going to say this because there happens to be a camera on me and I'm 50% of the show, so I get to say it. I think it's Ye.
It's Ye.
I think Ye is, I just think he's like, someone just wrote it here, TMV were talking about playing against Optic, the win condition is identified, it's just not going there. He does that thing that Zaiwu does in CS, where it's just like, you can't win the round until he's dead. You just can't. Yeah. And if you never kill him, you won't win the round. It's just impossible. Like, he's so oppressive. He's so hard to deal with. And like, it's not because of crazy flicks. It's not because of insane no scopes. It's none of that. It is he stands in like a turret in just the perfect place round to round. He's incredibly hard to telegraph. Yeah. He's just nuts. He's just nuts. For me, it's Ye, bro. For me, it's Ye.
I mean, I don't feel comfortable coming to a snap judgment on that. Honestly.
Then don't. I just say to someone who doesn't watch a ton of pro play, but as someone who watches a unhealthy amount of professional Counter-Strike. I also happen to be an opper. I'm not an opper at this level, so I would never, you know. But when I watch Ye play, I see the ingredients that I see when I watch, you know, like a Device or a Brokey or a Zaiwu. He just has that uncanny game sense that's very hard to deal with. It's really, really hard to deal with.
Yes.
I feel like pro players get very frustrated playing against Ye. I feel like they get really frustrated.
Yeah, I would be.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, the 100 Thieves strat where like, you know, the win condition would just don't go where CNET is.
Yeah.
Like, it's been done before and it's worked.
Yeah.
It's so, I mean, I feel like we're talking chat now. So chat, if you have any questions for us or comments, like, please send them in. We want to talk to you guys as well.
Someone just said a good opper is the one who hits the easy shots all the time. That's it. That's true. That's what it is. Like, mechanically, the weapon is very easy to use. It's very easy to use in CS as well. Yes, you have your Kenny S's and your Simples who do inhuman things with it, but you just got to hit the easy ones. And hitting the easy ones is about being in the right place at the right time every single time. And when I watch him play, that's the impression that I get. Is the dude is just impossible to telegraph.
We want Elizabeth Marquini as Sentinel's IGL.
Easy. Easy.
Can you imagine me?
Shaz comes for you. Shaz comes for you. He's just like,
God.
you replaced me. You're the fucking.
I'd be like, I subbed your channel, please.
Yeah,
like...
no, he swears a blood oath against you. Yeah.
Oh my god.
That would be funny as hell.
I feel like it's not really my play style. Like I will IGL if I'm frustrated enough, but I don't. That's not really my thing. Do you believe that?
Go ahead.
No, do you believe that Shazam will shine into a tier 1 team? We were talking about before. It depends. He thought about not playing competitively before this season.
What we were talking about is whether this will sort of light the anime fire under his ass and sort of spark him to go on a revenge tour, or if he sort of just uses it as an opportunity to, hang up the mouse and keyboard and just stream. Which there's no shame in doing that. Like that's for sure.
When you guys are gonna create the Olaf boost IRL?
That would be painful.
It'd be really painful. You guys in Canada can do that.
Unless I stand on top. Shoddy being on top.
Yeah.
Holding this
do you guys have thoughts on what will happen with Sick? I said this earlier. He is my favorite NA player by far.
He plays for Sentinels, right?
Yeah, he was on Sentinels, and then he took a step back to deal with personal stuff. And so I might, like I said this before, and I'll say it again, I want him to be okay. That is my number one thing.
Apparently Shaz replied to the...
That's what I'm looking for right now. Okay, he said, I messaged Rob privately too, but my disappointment... I messaged Rob privately too, but my disappointment in this process was the lack of comms from my team of the last 3 years. Deciding they want to restart is entirely their choice, but the timing of the leak, along with being in the dark, created the emotional response you saw on stream. Of course, I'm disappointed, but not to be included in the roster for next year, but my grind continues. I went to both T1 and T2, tier 2 teams looking to win. So he just kind of confirmed that he's not on it anymore.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
He also confirmed that he's still, at least as of right now, looking for T1. T2.
Yeah.
Now, he could have just, could just be fielding offers. Who knows what actually happens? But if the fact that he's, he seems like he's irked. It seems like he's, has a drive to win. So that's cool. But
is there any Fnatic news? Not that I know of. I think they have one spot open, right?
That team always seemed really stable. I always feel like, maybe they make a move or two, but they always seem...
Let me look.
I was glad they had a good event. They're one of the few teams I always cheer for when I do watch Valorant. I like Boaster.
Literally haven't said anything critical about anyone. It's all BS. Everyone is the best. Politically correct Andes. Marcus, you're back. Welcome. But Salmon Controller will be interesting. You not...
Dimitri's using his ZA.
I'm doing the math. Wait, I'm doing it in my head. I guess. Thinking about it. Mystic Enzo are gone. Yeah, that's right. It's and Enzo. I thought Enzo might have still been on. But anything about where Marved is going? As of right now, I don't think there's been any news about Marved.
Don't believe so. I was just
which is crazy considering he kind of went nutty this past season. What would be my NA dream roster? That's a good question though. What is the Sentinels roster? I'm confused. So many names are going around. Okay, so E, hello, fellow initial, E initial. Confirmed is former exec coach, now Sentinels coach, is head coach. Kaplan from Ghost Gaming is their strategic coach. Raucus has been let go. Kind of just confirmed Shazam is also out. Zelsis is also no longer there. I believe Shroud is just not there.
Is Shroud just not on the team anymore? Like,
yeah, I don't think so.
Right? Like, it just feels like they, never, That's too bad.
Yeah.
Are the Leafs winning the cup this year? Abso-fucking-lutely they
are. She's kind of confirmed he's off. Tens hasn't made any moves that we know about. But his contract does expire at the end of the year. So it could be out. And the rumor... I think is saying Dapper. Anything. Dapper is, yeah, as far as I know, Dapper is staying. Well, Dapper is also like is just fantastic. My mic is bugging.
Yeah,
Hello?
I was bugging. I was trying to check if it was on my end, but it does seem better now.
Hello?
Yep.
Ah.
We can hear you now.
Ah.
Dimitri, are you the owner of the Score Esports or an employee? I am the owner.
You what? Is it still?
No, you sound better now. I don't know what it was.
Okay,
It just must have been interference or something because it was coming in and out. But
all right.
yeah, it's a lot better. All right, well, that's cool. Let's see what happens, sports fans. Let's see what happens.
I mean, I think if anything, I can tell you guys, just expect the unexpected. I think just keep your eyes and ears open because the soft roster lock is rumored to be mid-October, so it's coming up very, very soon.
Yeah.
So we have to keep your eyes open, keep your eyes on Twitter. I've now learned at this show you need to be on Twitter at all times to be aware of everything.
Check HLTV. Dimitri appointed Score Esports CEO. Being reported on
but
HLTV,
I feel like the next time we do this show, we're gonna have even more
probably, yeah,
stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah,
guys,
we did it.
We did it. So just to be clear, this is essentially us starting a Valorant show where we talk about it. We're gonna play Valorant. We're gonna just maybe get some guests. We're gonna maybe talk about everything from ranked to game balance to today was just Rostermania day. So we just talked about the pro scene, obviously because that's what's topical right now. But this is basically just once a week. Liz and I are gonna get together and we are gonna shoot the shit about Valorant. For one show a week, chat, we're gonna be scared of realism and Dark Corridor.
I just saw a question. I'm assuming Def has some sort of work visa or something to be working in NA. So, and also, yeah, I know the Kesnet thing, Capri. Thank you so much for saying that. The only LATAM movement we have is Kesnet, who's free to look for other things and who apparently said on stream, I saw someone said it earlier, his manager is talking to teams. So, but we get to see you guys play Valorant? Mayhaps eventually.
We did
we searched for people. But have to in sub.
Your mic is cutting out again.
Ah.
I don't know why. It's weird.
Oh, is it because there's a train near me?
Maybe it's because of a train.
Is there interference?
It sounds better now.
Hello.
What I'll say is that when it cuts out hard. So it seems like it's fine now. But
hey, chat, it's Liz. How are you? Def is British, yes.
One day I'm just gonna stagger the mute button in OBS while you're talking just to fuck with
No! That's so mean. Will you be in Sao Paulo? If you want to pay for my trip.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel
free. What ranks?
But yeah.
I haven't played ranked, bro. I used to be mid-diamond. I haven't played ranked in literally 2 years. Over 2 years at this point. What is it? It's October? Well over 2 years. It's been a while. I used to be mid-diamond.
Andy, who's the best controller player in the game right now?
Who plays Valorant with a controller?
No, Dimitri, that's the
I've
name
seen
of the
some
role.
of these. I've seen some of these players play the game, and I'm not surprised now. This explains a lot, Liz, after learning that they play with a controller.
thanks for joining us today, guys. It's been lots of fun. I hope you guys come back with more questions. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us today. This has been so much fun.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah. Woo!
Thank you.
But it's been so much fun, guys, and we will see you at the next one.